KLTF. I'm speaking with Jimmy Chen, the Heartland Symphony Orchestra conductor and musical director. Mr. Chen, you've got an upcoming concert this evening and tomorrow, once here in Little Falls tonight and tomorrow morning up in Brainerd. Can you give us a little bit of background about yourself, because you are new to the Heartland Symphony Orchestra? Tell us how you got involved with music and how you actually came to be here in the United States.
Sure. First of all, good morning, everyone. My name is Jimmy Chen, and I go by Jimmy Chen. So if you see me on the street, please feel free to say hi to me and call me Jimmy, and I would be delightful to meet you. About myself, I first started my music training when I was in high school, actually, and I didn't even started with anything related to orchestra. That's not true. I started as a percussionist in a high school marching band, and after the first 2 years, I was attracted to the sound of a saxophone. That's when I decided to switch to saxophone performance, and I started to practice really hard, and I realized I want to do music as my career. And that's when I decided to get a degree on saxophone performance in college. So I went to college, got my bachelor's degree in saxophone performance, and while I was in college, I had a lot of chance to hear orchestra performance and the rehearsals, and I had a chance to study with our conductor back to college, and that's just truly opened my mind, and I think that's something I want to do for my life. So after I went to Army service after college, I decided to come to United States and study orchestral conducting. And first, I went to Boston Conservatory, and I had a great time. I spent 3 years there, and I met a lot of great musicians, great teachers, and of course, a lot of Boston Symphony concerts. Then I went to Ithaca College for another master degree, and this time it's really, really opened my eye again that how a musical performance can effect to the whole community. Both Ithaca College and Cornell University did a great job on promoting both classical music and contemporary music. And after that, I thought I need to keep going. So I went to University of Iowa, which has a rich culture in literature and the music. And I was there this is my 5th year lived in Iowa City, Iowa, and I just enjoyed it. So that's basically my background, and how I came to involve with Heartland Symphony. First, I saw the opening here, and I was just, to be able to work with a group of musicians who love music, who spend their every Thursday evening to rehearse just after they have been work whole day. They came to the rehearsal. You can see they are tired, but when I raise my baton ready to go rehearsal, their face just all light up, and you just know, like, oh, my long drive from Iowa to here, it worth it already. And after you hear them play, that's one of the wonderful thing to be here. Yeah.
So are you involved with any other symphonies or orchestras, either in Minnesota or maybe down in Iowa City?
Yes, currently I'm teaching in Cornell College in Cornell, Iowa right now. And we just had our last concert in the end of September, and we're preparing for our next concert in on November 14th.
Now, you said you were trained in saxophone, and that's where you got your bachelor's degree. What was the differences, or was it a difficult transition going from saxophone performance and maybe playing a little bit more jazz music to an orchestra setting?
Actually, when I was in college, the saxophone degree I got is not for jazz music. I was playing classical saxophone repertoires. When we talking about classical saxophone repertoire, is like it will be considered contemporary for most of the musicians since the instrument invent in 1850-ish, and most of the music are composed in early 1900. So they are kind of modern, but we consider it classical. About the transition to orchestral music, I thought it's not a big gap. You know, music speak their own language, and when you are in love with music, you just do anything to make yourself be familiar with it and live with it. Yeah.
And I know it's the 39th concert season for Heartland Symphony Orchestra, and the theme for the fall concert is Scandinavian Holiday. How did you go about picking the songs and the composers for this weekend's concert series?
Um, for this Scandinavian holidays, it's quite a process of making this repertoire. As we know, a lot of when you talk about Scandinavian composers, you thought about right away Sibelius, John Sibelius, Edvard Grieg, and Carl Nielsen, who haven't got a lot of attention, but I'm pretty sure he will become something people perform a lot in the next 5 or 10 years. So Grieg, Sibelius, Carl Nielsen, then you realize we have Danish here, we have Finnish here, Norwegian here, and then we realize where is the Swedish composer? Actually, we are not ignoring them. Talking about history, Finland was part of Sweden back until I think it's 1809, I believe, and later become part of Russia and independent later. So there, Sibelius was living right between this whole transition, and his music is actually having a lot of influence by both nations. So I don't think we are ignoring Swedish, and I do think this whole program is a great program for this title. We got a little bit of literature from Norwegian. So we hear Peer, and then we hear some leaders from Greek that was arranged into string orchestra. And we have Karelia Suite, which is a place in the I think it's in the north Finland, right between the country and Russia, and has a lot of rich culture. And then later we have Carl Nielsen, his Latin Suite, which is writing for a theater work that has quite a story between the composition process. And I think this is going to be a very enjoyable concert for all of you. Yeah.
And one final question, Mr. Chen. You got a chance to rehearse last night here in Little Falls, and I know you're going to be joined by the St. Francis Concert Orchestra. What was it like seeing the older orchestra musicians also working with the younger folks?
I think so. I think it's a very easy process. As I said earlier, music speaks their own language. Once you are living in that language, you kind of communicate with each other through music. And there's one thing I do like to point out is this concert, we are not only joined by the string orchestra from San Fran Music Center, we also have the choir from Little Folk Community High School, that the choir will join us on the Aladdin Suite in Little Folk concert. And both these groups are fine groups, and I really enjoy work with these young students. I had a chance to work with them, and it feel like there's nothing different. You just make music, and they adapt it right away, and you can see their face react, and their playing reacts to the music, which is one of the main purpose why we are doing here. Yeah, so I really enjoy this whole process of music creating, and I hope this collaboration will goes on and on forever. So Yeah, that's one of my biggest wish for this project.
And we've been speaking with Jimmy Chen, the music director for the Heartland Symphony Orchestra. They're in the 39th concert season. They've got their Scandinavian holiday. They perform in Little Falls tonight at 7:30. They perform up in Brainerd at the Tollstrom Auditorium at 2:30 on Sunday.